the link of community page, so you can join and you'll be updated of the other sessions coming. There are a lot of sessions coming for SAP, and on the left there is a link of WhatsApp group. So if you have any queries, if you want to discuss anything, any point that you are facing issue on, so you can just ping that on the group, and anyone from us will be available to help you out. It's an open group, will not spam anything there, it will be just for discussions. So firstly, the topic for today. So as you know, like in the SAP series, we have done SAP GUI automation, then we moved to SAP RFC BAPI, how we can do that, the backend settings and how we can use them. So now the topic for today is SAP SuccessFactors automation. So any idea like from any one of you, like what SuccessFactor is? Let's keep this interactive so we are learning together. So any idea, anyone you want to talk about what is SuccessFactor? If anyone have used SuccessFactor, if not, you can just type a message in the chat like yes, no, if you are aware or if you are not aware, things like that. Anybody? Oh, I see a few messages in the chat. Okay, no, not aware. Okay, so I think people are not aware of that. So we'll start from the basic then. So firstly, the introduction. So hi everyone, I'm Deepak and I'm an RP developer at the Silicon Partners. And if you want to discuss anything about SAP automation or even in general anything about UiPath or anything you are working or you are facing an issue, you can just ping me on LinkedIn. I'll be happy to help you out. So here's my LinkedIn. Umesh or Faz, somebody will also ping that my LinkedIn in the chat too, so you can connect with me. Firstly, the agenda for today. Firstly, in the first topic we will cover will be it will be an introduction of SAP SuccessFactor. What is SAP SuccessFactor? What it does and how it is helping organization. What kind of work it do, and then we'll also see in depth like what are the use cases. Like when we are talking about SAP SuccessFactors automation with UiPath, then what kind of use cases that we can automate? What are in the different areas in which different use cases we have found. I have a list of that. I'll show you that too. Then how different types of automation, like what type of automation we cannot do in that. There is a backend way or there's a UI automation way. We'll discuss in briefly about that too. Then we'll discuss about the best practices, what best practice we can use to like avoid errors and everything else. So we'll discuss that too in depth because this portal is like not much like the selectors and everything's are not very defined, so we'll have to work our way around that. So we'll see the best practices for that. Then the live demo, we'll see a quick live demo like how we can automate something, or I have a process already prepared, so we'll also see that how it is working and how the portal is. Then in the end we'll have a Q&A session. We'll discuss, if you have any questions we'll discuss, and if you have any questions in between, do like unmute yourself and do speak, and you can also post your questions in the chat too. We'll try to answer that there too. So firstly, what is SAP SuccessFactors? So we in the first session of SAP, we understood like what SAP is actually. So in that we understood like in if an organization is working, there are lots of like areas that has to be handled, like sales, finance, manufacturing. All those areas are there. So a part of that is managing human resources as well. So to handle all those human resource area where like employees, recruiting, onboarding, what are the performance, what are the goals, what are the succession and development, what are the benefits, and all things related to employees, which what HR is actually doing. So we can do all that on the SuccessFactor portal. It is a cloud-based portal. We could just have a username, password to for that, and we can just go to the portal and use this. So it helps generally in the HR to enhance their work. Like if any new person is onboarding, what are the checklist for that, what are the accesses that we have to give to them, what are the details that the a new person has shared. You have to onboard upload them to the site so that every document, every proof is like safely secure, and you have all the document before starting the person onboarding. So all those things are covered under SuccessFactors. I have few points too. What is SuccessFactor? So you will notice like in core HR and payroll, it helps managing the employee data, organization structure. In talent management, it will the life cycle of the complete employee and the recruiting, onboarding, performance management, learning, succession planning, all of these, the time and attendance, like what we, when we are logging in, when we are logging out, what is the attendance, when I'm on leave, when I'm working. So all those details we have on success, we can use success factor for that. So all those detail HR can easily manage, and the employees can easily access that to, like if they want to apply for leave, they have to go there and things like that. So the basic use of success factor is that. I think that's hopefully that clear to you. Now, like use cases, and now we'll come to the automation part of it as well. So let's just say that HR has a work, like whenever a new person is onboarding, they have a complete checklist of 20 items, and they all are manual tasks. So what we can do, we can automate that onboarding task, and we can help the HR to work on more HR engaging stuff. Like when the new person is joining, the more important thing is to HR, for HR is to engage with that person, and this, so they feel comfortable and things like that. But a lot of time things happen, like they are busy in uploading all the document, they are busy in doing the onboarding process. So what we can do, for example, like if onboarding, we can automate it. All the details will store at a particular location, and from that the onboarding process will start, and we can automate that process completely. There will be a few human interaction required, but not as much as it required right now. So the HR can work on better things to do, like engaging with employees and doing other works. So the key integration what we have with UiPath, as you'll know, like UiPath has an activity package for success factor specifically. So you can just you download that package and use that in your code to work on that. Directly integrated with the success factor portal through APIs, and it contains like few activities, like to get a record, to input any record, and delete, search, execute any particular function that you have already created in success factor. So all those things we can do by UiPath integration that has been provided, and it works on API based. So there is no UI interaction, it will work through API. So that is the best way to like automate HR process. So because all those things are required, and when you can make a connection easily with the success factor portal through APIs, that too on a back end, there is no need to interact with the UI. So that works seamlessly, and the report gets generated and it get mailed to you. So we can automate that, and it becomes easy with this, with those activity. Just one thing, like for a module that is for payroll, we don't have like out of box packages, we can't use that. But for like getting employee details and things like that, we can use these activities, and completely they are usable, and I have deployed few projects on that too. And this is like completely built and supported by UiPath, so like they have a good support uh, team, so we can work on that. And if you have any issues in particular activity are facing, you can always raise a ticket and get in contact with the team. So that is a very good way to do that. Next thing, we have a complete like the use cases in which areas of success factor we can automate things. So let's just say in recruiting, there are a few things that we can, like shortlisting candidates, scheduling interviews, checking employment history status, and managing job posting and requisition. All those things we can automate. There is a scope there. And in onboarding process, to kick off onboarding, creating accounts, assigning them permission, order equipment, and the laptop, sending them laptop, creating a ticket to IT so that they can create an asset, like assign an asset to them, and whatever they have to do next, assign different application, install them, they whatever required. In learning areas, all the organization is growing, they are doing certifications. To manage that certifications, sharing, and like if there anyone has any occasion, you can congratulate them, share things with them. Identifying candidates for training with all the data that you have of the employees, you can do that. Then the performance management, managing approval process, sending out reminder through email, Slack, Teams, communicating through them, and creating different files and calculating compensation. All those things we can do through bot. We can automate that process. So core HR, in exit management, there are lots of area. Like in HR work, like whenever any employees is coming, employees going, organizations is growing always. So there are a lot of things that we have to keep in mind, and HR has to do all that work in like a manual way. So we can help the HR team in to automate those process and help them to do more important things. So these basis use cases I have noticed, like I have found them useful. So I have put that here. You can take a screenshot if you want, if you are looking to automate areas of HR. So these are the areas that I have found. Moving forward, like how different types of automation that we can do in UiPath. So firstly, there is a API way, which we just discussed, like with the UiPath activity package. Then the second way is the UI automation way. So API way is the backend way. We can do that, but all functions cannot be done. Like just I told in the start that the payroll part, we can't do that through the UI API automation. So we have to do a different approach. We have to use UI automation, but in UI automation, I have seen like in SuccessFactors, selectors are not very like good selectors. We have to like use element exist, retry mechanism, and rejects as well in some areas, and passing dynamic values through configs to make it more reliable. So I have all those things after this, so we will discuss that in detail. But there are basically two ways: API and UI automation. So firstly, we'll see in depth about the API automation, how we can do that, what are different activities, and what are all those things. So before like even automating anything, we need API access. So how we can enable any user to have an API access to work on. So for that, we have to like give them certain accesses. Uh, like in the general user permission, we have to allow them as if let me just log into SuccessFactor and we'll do that. Uh, can you see my screen? Uh,
Yes.
Manage permission. Okay. I'm assigned as different role. Okay, so this is a basic interface, but it looks like these for SuccessFactor. So I'm just logging into my user. This is a test user that I have. Right, it's logging. Now we'll go to manage permission. Now there is two types of permissions. There is a group permission and role permission. So group permissions are basically when the admin is assigning a certain set of group some roles. So currently we are not in a group way. I just wanted to assign roles to myself. So I'll choose manage permission roles. And in this screen, you will have something called as SF API. That means SuccessFactor API. So we'll go here to load. It will show us all the accesses that are available. In here, we'll have to edit access. We'll have to add it. Now we'll go to add permissions here. So here we'll have to first go to user, general user permission. In this, if you'll notice, there is a checkbox called as SF API user login. So we'll have to enable this for any user to be able to log that if my user credentials I'm using. So I will enable this so that this user can also log in through API. So this is the first checkbox that we have to do. After this, we'll go to other, but only if you want to log in through this, you can just check this next and save this credentials. So it is currently enabled. And another permission that we require is manage integration tools. See, in manage integration tool, the first and the most important is allow admin to access OData API through basic authentication. So there are two ways to like use these API. One is the basic authentication. One is through OAuth. So to allow through this, so we have to enable this, and all these other checkbox you can see like these are required in some scenarios. So you can use them according to the work that you are doing. If you want some other data like access to OData audit log and access to option profile, all these things based on the work that you are doing. So all these checkbox you can do select all also, but like based on security concerns and everything, please do check only what is required for your current process. We'll do that. And also like there is a way that you can assign, like let's just say that you are working on only recruiting module, so you only want to have access for recruiting. So we'll type here recruiting, and you'll see here like there's a section here for managed recruiting. So in managed recruiting, let's just say that you will only be working on managed recruitment. recruitment part. So you can just come here, check everything, and the recruitment part access will all be given to your API, but nothing else other than that. So you can do that on basis of the work that you are doing too. So these are the ways that we can do that. So these basic checkbox are required to even run anything through API or even to make a connection. So this is the first thing that we have to do when we are doing API automation. So this is also that I have shared in the presentation, general user permission, in that I have like allowed the user login and SF API user login. And in the manage integration tools, I have also allowed some checkbox that were required for my work. So I have done that. Now the other way, like this works for the basic authentication. We have API and the base URL and the credentials that we have, we'll use that. So basic authentication works for this. Now we'll have to, like, there is another way to through OAuth. So how we can create a through OAuth, how we can log in through that. For that, we'll have to go to manage OAuth. You'll just come here, you'll search for manage OAuth client applications. You'll select this. Now you can come here and create, register your client application, and it will provide you an API key and a certificate through which you can directly log into the, directly make a connection through UiPath Studio with SuccessFactor. So this is the other way out. If like depends on your company policies and everything, whatever policies that your company have, if they allow basic authentication, that is well and good. Otherwise, you can always come here for the OAuth part, and you can just create a new app for UiPath, just like I have created here. So you can use that and do it. So this is the basic prerequisite that we have to do if we are using API automation. Now, the basic setup is done. Now, what we need for API automation is the SuccessFactors package that we talked about in the starting. So now the package name is successfactor.uipath.successfactor.activities. You can directly go to manage packages and search for this package and install it. And there are some activities which are inside this. All these activities are inside this, like the delete record, execute function, get record, insert record, search record, SuccessFactor scope, update record, and upsert record. So all these activities are included in this package, and these you can use through API. So these are the activities name, but they are like pretty straightforward through the name. Like if you have to get a record, you can use get record. If you have to insert a record, you can use insert record. Then for searching, then for update, delete, all these are like basic functions. You can do that. These are all in API, so you must be aware like when how to work with an API, like how the output is in JSON format, how you can use that. So that is like a basic prerequisite if you should be aware of the API working. And firstly, like how we can make a connection in UiPath Studio. So firstly, we'll have to use a SuccessFactors scope activity. This is in the package, and then you click on the configure. You will notice like these, the pop-up that is on the right will appear, and in that you will have to select which type of authentication you want to select. You want to select the basic authentication, or you want to select the OAuth type. So in basic authentication, it just asks for base URL, username, and password. So these are the basic connection that we'll have. We'll also discuss this in Studio 2. I'll show you how to create a connection. I'll do that in depth. Then this is the basic things for API automation. If there is any question regarding the API automation, I think do paste that in the chat. Like I see Umesh is answering questions. Do paste them in chat, and we can also discuss. If you want to speak right now, we can discuss right now too. Okay, moving forward. So now comes the UI automation part. So in UI automation, what I have generally noticed is like the selectors are not good. So even if you are just using this strict selector to do your complete process, it may fail at some time. So you have to use the UiPath new like features like computer vision and the fuzzy selector, like image based selector. So whenever you are using these type of activity like check, click, drop down, these all kind of activities support CV. So do like with the strict selector, do like select the CV or fuzzy selector, do select CV as well, because that makes your selector more reliable. Because with CV, it you may be aware of the computer vision technology. So it works on that technology and it helps us identify that element. So it becomes easy for like, even if some things are changing, but the look is same, the computer vision will identify that and will give you the output. The chances of failure will be less. So do use computer vision and when whichever selector that you are using. I have example here too. In this, we were typing the name, and in name you'll see like I have selected strict selector, fuzzy selector, computer vision, image. So these options that you have provided in the modern design experience helps a lot. Like in fuzzy selector, few things can change, but can make that dynamic. And in computer vision, if this is a input box that certain value from with the target I have given as anchor to, so that works. And in image based selector tool, it is a box, it is identified that. So whenever using UI automation, do keep a note of these things like CV, image based selectors, and the fuzzy selectors helps a lot in success factors because their selectors are not that well built. So do keep that in mind. Now before like moving to the demo part, things that I have noticed in UI automation, I have like few points that we can use, the best practices kind of things to enhance our flow and reducing the chances of error. So first is like developing reusable components. Whenever any workflow of you is working fine, make it as a reusable or even a library if you want. Because if a thing is working fine, you don't want to create that again and again. And if any other person from the team wants to work on that too, they can just directly use the reusable. There is no need to like create that again and fine tune that selectors again. First thing, that developing a reusable components is must. Then using dynamic selectors, as I told you, like are not well built. So you'll have to make them dynamic, have to pass strings values, like pass star in somewhere, have to like IDX, you have to remove some values that as an iframe, you can also remove them. So these are few things like in normal automation too, you can remove that, like making a dynamic selector is a must. Then leveraging SAP built-in XP activities, just the package. In this scenario, these packages not for like the UI automation, but for API automation too. When you are working with API, you can try another ways too. But API automation activities, you can utilize that. They work really well. There is no like need to interact with UI. If your process can work with that, do that, please. And implementing retry mechanism, like some selectors you must be aware, like sometimes things happen like the button name is this, and it sometimes it happens a different way, the look and feel change. So retry mechanism is important when you are logging in, when you are like doing some task, and like this time sometime it gives an error, you have to have a retry mechanism to handle that up. So adding a good retry mechanism is very important. Utilizing element exist activity. Element exist activity is a great activity. Let's just say that you are waiting for a screen to open. It takes time to load. So your selector will fail. So you can have an element exist, give it some time of type of delay, like time to wait for that element to exist, like 30 seconds, 60 seconds. Or in that, if it exists, that means your selector is there. But if not, you can like, if you want to retry that certain activity so that it can try again for that element exist, those kind of scenario we can handle with element exist. So do use element exist. Then using try catch effectively, because handling exceptions is like a integration, the important part of any code. So using try catch at certain activities level too, like I have used in few scenario, like some selector is not working in that way, but I have used try catch. In catch I have another way to have handle that. So you can use that try catch in that way too, in an activity level too. So do use that. CV selector, we just talk about using CV selector. It works very well. Using fuzzy selector, same way. Those two combining also make like helps us in a great way. Then the object repository, like whenever your selector is ready, do add them to object repository, because if any other selector of certain kind, like even the same selector, if you want to use, you can directly drag that from object repository. You don't have to work on that again. And the logging too, maintain logging at every step of your automation, like every single activity that is handling UI automation, do have a log after that, because it becomes easy for us to track in unattended mode where that bot is actually failing. So do have a comprehensive logging. Now we are, the basic points are covered. Now we'll come to code. Let me just create a new test sequence so we can see how the SuccessFactor package work, right? So now to install SuccessFactor package, we'll just have to go to manage package. In official, we'll come here and search for SuccessFactors. Here is the activity package. You can just directly install it from here and save. So when we In the starting, I told like the success factor activities are there in the marketplace, so you can just download them in your studio and use them. I'll just show you how to use them too, how to make a connection, and what are the secure ways to make a connection and things like that too. Currently, the account that I am using is a test account, so the team doesn't have access to API on the test account, but I'll show you how to use things, so you will not be facing any issue when you are doing that. See, these activities in under integration panel is success factor activities. So firstly, we'll need success factor scope. We'll drag that here. And now when we go to configure, you'll notice there are two types of connection. One is design connection and one is robot connection. So design connection means whenever you are running it through a studio and you have like, let's just say basic authentication for testing, but due to company compliance or policies, security concerns, you don't want to run the bot when it is running from robot in orchestrator mode or like an unattended mode to run it through the basic connections. You can allow it, but if you want to make here like the OAuth client credentials, so these you can set up here. Like when it is in a design mode, it will use this type of authentication. When it is in a robot connection mode, it will use this type of credential. So both of the ways work parallelly seamlessly. So there is no issue in that. In the base URL, the SuccessFactor team will provide you a URL, like the at what URL the SuccessFactor login is available, and what is the server data server name. So in that URL, it will have a complete information of that. In username, let's just say my name is Deepak. So my username Deepak Nangru. So my name username is D Nangru. After that, I have to add the company ID. So whenever you are logging into SuccessFactor, it asks for a company ID. So now we will give the email. Let me just give it an email of my SuccessFactor. So for example, let's just say that this is the URL, base URL. We have given that here, and my username is this. So now after that, I have to give it my company number. So for now, I'm just typing some random numbers and the password. The password will be the same as you are login, but you have to enter a company code. Otherwise, it will not make a connection, and it will not tell you like but it will not be sure like which particular company ID you are trying to log in and what is the connection, how to make that connection in that ID. So this is a must. And when you are using auth2, the base URL will be same. Then the company ID that we have entered here will come here, and then the user ID, client key, and password. The user ID will be same, dnangru. So these must be in string. I'm passing that right now. You should pass a variable in this because it will be in a safe, want to do it in a safe way. You just have to, you'll create a variable or like a secure string to pass your passwords. So you can do that. And in client ID and in client private key, you remember the way I told you how to create a new connection in OAuth. So whenever you create that, you will get a API key. When you save that connection, you will have to use that API key in the client ID, and the private key will also be generated at the time when you create a connection. You have to copy that and pass that private key here. Currently in the environment that I am, API is not available, so I can't show you making all the connection, but this is the basic way to make connection. I've shown you like basic auth2 and basic authentication and the OAuth2. So this way you can make connection, and when the connection is configured, you can use other activity. Let's just say after that, I have to get a record. You'll just drag that in between this scope. If this activity is outside of this scope, it will not work. You have to keep that activity inside this scope. So we'll have that activity inside its scope. We'll in configure. Now it will show me to do the authentication again. But whenever you are completely authenticated, you are connected through the API, you will be able to pass values like which particular you want record you want to extract and from which module you want to extract. So you can do that. So this is a basic configuration setup for SuccessFactor scope activity, how we can use APIs to use for SuccessFactor. Then the other way is through UI automation. So in UI automation, I have a code. So this is actually a test case. So in this, I'll show you like how things are. This is an old build code, like having try, catch, and retry scope and things like that are here. But one thing that I will tell you, like sometimes I have noticed, like when you are on the screen, let me show you. like you are on this screen. So this particular URL is being used. So if you'll use attach browser to pass this exact URL into that, sometime it may fail because they make a change in the backend and the link will be changed. So you have to make that dynamic. So you for that use the modern activities, use application and browser in that activity. Let me show you that too. See, in this activity, if you'll go to properties, there is a like an element thing, input element and output element. If you are doing a process in a sequential manner, let's just say that I was in the home screen and then I searched for that OAuth application and I went there, but the link changed there. So for that, I don't have to pass the exact URL again. I just have to, what I have to do from the screen above, I just create an element here. Let's just say the output element. So now it will contain that. Okay, it is not allowing me right now. Okay, so you can just create a variable here or an argument. So for that, argument will contain the element that you have used last in this use application browser, and you can directly use that in the next application browser. So it makes your work easy. You don't have to pass that link again and again, and link may be changed, but the screen element or the UI element will be same. So you can use this kind of things to make your code more effective. And the selectors are like not very good in this. I have a process in this process, what the bot is actually doing. Let's just say that a new person has joined your organization and you have to create a position for that particular employee. But I am let's just say that I am an HR employee, but I don't want to do that from my account ID. We have a particular like India HR account created. So all those work that are being done on that portal related to like creating a position or adding a person should be done through that ID only. So for that we have to do a proxy thing. So let's just run this process. That will be more useful if I'll show you how it is doing. Let me just run this. You will see like it will go to create a new instance in incognito and all those things. It will log in, it will enter company ID and credentials, all those things it will do. And as it is a test case, it will have a success or failure message too. We'll see that message too. And all those input information like what position we have to create and what proxy account we have to use is coming from the config file. So and in the end also it is sending an email out to the employee to, for now it is my email ID. So it is sending an email out with the Excel report to like this employee has been created and this by this name and this value that you provided in the input is being there with an Excel sheet. So we'll show that too. We'll show you that too. So now it has entered company ID. Now it will type the username and password, clicking on continue. Now the SuccessFactor homepage is loaded. But for now, it is logged in as my user. I have to go to, let's just say for in my example, it was the India HR. But now there is in SuccessFactor, there is some user which is created for solely for this purpose. So we'll have to select that user. So if you notice in few seconds, it will click on the top right column of my name. So there is a error here. Okay, let's just ignore this for now and continue. It has clicked on my name. It will click on proxy now. The proxy is the feature through which we can change users. So now we'll have to use the target username. In this scenario, it is Jacob. So we'll select Jacob. It will see like it has all the, in the input sheet, we have given its name, its position and everything. So it has verified that it's same. Then it will click on OK. Now it will refresh. Yeah. Now I'll notice the profile is changed. The profile image is changed. Now I'm not logged in as my account. Now I'm using a proxy account to do the work. So now it will go to that particular link where we have to onboard that, create a particular position. So it is loading that. You'll notice like this success factor is slow. So we have to make it dynamic in a way like using element exist or even sometimes delay. So now it is selecting my profile, the Jacob's profile, and adding a lower level position. Now it will select the job code. All these are coming from my input sheet. Then the employee class, what is the class of that employee? It's a consultant, so it will save that. Now the regular or temporary employee, is it, if it is a contractor, will add temporary. Now it is saved. Right. So now it is saved. This was our basic process to create a create a position in this uh, success factor. So by using proxy, we have created a user. Now the process is done. I have not added kill process because I don't want to log in again. So now if I have I want to go become myself again and check for that particular user if it has been created or not, I can do that. So this was the basic process that we had for you to show for UI automation example. Uh, any questions regarding this? Uh, Anything other than that? I think we covered the best practices. Now the lab demo part was there, and any questions regarding the demo? Any questions regarding the setup? Any questions regarding the prerequisite or even success factor in that matter? Any questions? Well, let me check the chat too. I see most of the questions are answered by Umesh and Faz. Okay. Actually, I've joined today, hence not able to sync properly. And even if you want to ask any question, like we can answer it right now. You can get the previous recording. It's on YouTube channel too. And also like if you go to community page, you'll see the last sessions of these two. And in that too, you'll directly get a link to that recording too. Okay, I think, yeah, please.
Maybe I have missed the previous session, but there was one question, as in like some people were talking about me that rather than doing the UI automation, it would be good if we can do the scripting and then running that script with UI path.
The API way.
Um, might be the API way. So I do not know the exact thing, like how that scripting thing works. So is it similar to what VB macro is?
Are you we talking about in SuccessFactor, right?
Yeah, SAP scripting.
So in a success factor, there is no such way of scripting. In GUI, there is a scripting way through that you can pass script, but it is a web-based portal. So you can even directly connect through the backend through API.
Okay.
But otherwise, the other way is to just connect through the use the user interface to work on that.
Okay.
This scripting way is generally for the GUI part. If you have like a SAP GUI system and you can pass scripting in that, you can pass script and you can work on that. But in a web-based thing, the API approach is there that connects directly to the server. But other way is only the UI automation.
Understood. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi Deepak, am I audible?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So basically, in conclusion, this success factor is the thing which we might add the entries, delete the entries.
Right.
Ultimately, that reflect in our SAP system. Is
Uh,
it?
so see, success factor is not exactly SAP. It's a part of SAP. So to manage all the HR areas, success factor is a portal. So you can manage all the HR resources like onboarding, offboarding, and certification, and managing resources, timesheets, and all those things. So for that particular reason, success factor is there. So if you have to do any work related to this, you can use this portal.
Okay.
Yeah. And to get record from success factor only, these activity are useful. But if you have to get record from SAP server like GUI or Fury server, there are different ways to do that. In SAP GUI, you can use like the SAP activities package and go to that particular T code to extract that. And in Fury, there are different applications. So you can connect with, go to that particular application, then you have to extract that. But success factor is a different entity, let's just say.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, if there are any other questions and you want to ask that, I have a question to SAP desktop application. I have to copy my 10K rows a copy at once. May I know how it can be done? Uh, if it is a data table, then you can directly use get extract data table. I think it will extract every row and column. If
Oh,
this is what
actually,
you're asking.
no. Actually, it's not a extract the data table. We already have the input Excel sheet.
Okay,
So we have the user IDs. The user IDs might come from 8K to 10K range.
okay,
So we need to copy all that at once into the SAP application, the desktop application.
okay. So you have Excel and you want to paste that data
Uh-huh.
in a SAP data table, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So there are two ways to do that. If you can directly copy the complete data table and set it to clipboard and go there and paste, I think that will also work. Set to clipboard, you can try that too. If
Uh,
maybe there is a limit to set to clipboard activities, like how much entries it can take, then you have to like had a loop or something, so that for 100 activities it will do, then 100 next it will do, or 1000 maybe. I'm not sure about the limit of set to clipboard, but that is an easy way that I can think of right now.
yeah, I heard about the set to clipboard, but chunking is not possible. So the
Okay,
I have to do all the rows at once. Only a particular
okay,
column of all the
okay.
rows.
Okay. Uh, then it will take time. It will take one bar. Then there must be like in SAP GUI data table, there is a way to import data. So check that option, because in SAP GUI there is a button to import file too. If you provide the Excel file in the same format that it is accepting in SAP, it will directly import that file and upload that data. That is another way too. If you can explore that area. I remember like in data table that I have worked with, there was an import button and we can directly pass the table into that table and it will reflect that here, reflect that on your screen. But the file
Okay.
formatting should be exactly same as the it is accepting in the SAP.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, I will try. Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you.
If there is anything else, like any other questions and you are not, you forgot and when you're trying, you find out, you can just directly ping me on LinkedIn. I'll be happy to help there too.
Yeah, that is the task I have to finish. So
We have shared the LinkedIn of the speakers like Umesh, Faz, me, and Monica. You can connect with us at any time. Ping us on LinkedIn, and we'll be happy to help. Great. If there is any more questions, you can ask. Otherwise, we'll move forward. Okay, moving forward then. So next sessions we have planned, like today was the third session of SAP automation. Now the next session is on Fury automation. If you are interested in Fury automation too, so do register for that. It is happening tomorrow, same time, 3:30 p.m. IST. And after that on Monday, we have another session that is test automation, how we can use SAP, like if we have a test, we have to do a test automation, how we can do that, and how the test manager integrate with ADO to let them know the business user if there is a bug or if it's a success. So that will also cover in that too. And then there will be a session on solution accelerator and the best practices. So it's on Tuesday. And then on Thursday we have other session, like there will be a session in which we will be covering different modules of SAP. Let's just say like in SAP there are finance, material management, sales distribution basis, and production planning. We'll discuss major use cases that we have seen with clients. What are the major use cases and area where we can use UiPath automation to help the business. So we'll cover that too. And also after that we have an in-person session planned too. I think Umesh, correct me if I'm wrong, it is on 21 or 20.
Yeah, it is on 21st.
It is on 21st September. So it will be in our the Silicon Partners office in Noida. So if you are interested in that, you can register for that. In that, we will provide you like exclusive access to SAP, our SAP system. So you can do a bit of hands-on on SAP automation. So if you are interested in SAP automation, you can register for that, and we'll be happy to help there too. If there's anything else, Umesh, if you want to cover anything.
No, I think that's about it. And like Deepak said, right, you can register for the upcoming events. The link has already been shared by Rohit Radhakrishnan at the beginning of the session. And the other sessions that we have is
Fury automation, which is scheduled for tomorrow. And then for the next week, we have sessions around SAP test automation and using the solution accelerator for SAP. And then the top 10 SAP use cases across modules of SAP. So feel free to register for all these upcoming sessions. And if you are based out of Delhi NCR region, you can also register yourself for the in-person event that is scheduled to happen on 21st of September. And there you will have a temporary exclusive access to different SAP system for hands-on exercise. So we are looking forward to have more engagements from the community. And if you are finding this series interesting and worth it, so please forward or please share the invite with your group, your connections, so that we can have more engagements within the community. Because I think this is the first time this SAP automation series is happening in your path community. So the more beneficial, the more we share right with the community, I think it will be more beneficial for the community members. So yeah.
Great. Thanks, Umesh. So in the end, we just want to, like, if you want to join the community, you can join through the link and the WhatsApp group too. And if there are any other questions related to SAP automation or even automation in general through UiPath, you can ping me on LinkedIn. I'll be happy to help there too. Thank you everyone for joining.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, team.
Looking forward to see you in other sessions as well.
Thank you.